Getting a job in the UK after moving here on a global talent visa took me about 6 months. And let me tell you something. In the first 3 months, I was doing everything I was supposed to do. Applying for jobs, tweaking my CVs, getting to final stage and still getting rejected. Then I realized something. I needed to change my approach to job search. Once I figured it out, everything changed. I started getting multiple offers. Even after accepting one, I was still getting contacted for opportunities. So what exactly did I change? Let me show you. Hey there, welcome back. Or should I say I'm back? I know it took ages for me to release this second video. I feel so shy. Starting a YouTube channel is not for the faint-hearted, especially when you are relocating to a new country. So for people that don't know, I was initially in Dubai before relocating to the UK. So I feel like in the space of 5 years, I've been to 2 different countries with 2 different values, 2 different cultures, and I just had to give myself a break to learn and unlearn a lot of things. But now I'm back and better, and will be consistent with posting videos. I think. Fingers crossed. So getting a UK global talent visa is one thing. Landing a job when you move here, that's another ball game. Getting a job in the UK is not straightforward. When I got here, I thought it was going to be easy. I'm just going to apply for a job, do the interview and ace the interview and get the job. Because in my career journey, I've really not had a point where it was a struggle for me to get a job. I've always gotten a job that I wanted. So getting here, I just felt, I'm confident in my skills, confident in my experience, and I just felt I would get a job, but apparently not. I had to do a lot of learning and unlearning, and it was truly a humbling experience for me, and I got to learn a lot of things. For the first few months, I was just saying,
unfortunately.
It was that crazy. And at some point, I would always get to the final stage and they end up picking the other candidates. And I'm just like, what am I doing wrong? Is there something about me? Is this racism? Is it my accent? What am I getting wrong? Why am I not getting these jobs? At some point, I gave myself the title Final Stage Queen because I couldn't make sense of it. Anyway, I changed my strategy and I noticed a difference in my job application. And eventually, I landed an offer, started a job, got another offer, moved to that job, and was getting more opportunities. Today, I'll be breaking down exactly what I did to land a job. The first thing I did was to change my portfolio. Yes. As a UI UX designer, in order to get a job, you need to have a portfolio alongside your CV. And in my portfolio, the old one that I had, it was more like a template. One of the trends that I've noticed in the UX space is a lot of people are big on motion, animation, things flying here and there. And I just realized that is not necessarily me as a designer. I wanted my portfolio to sort of speak to my person, speak to my design principles, and speak to my personality. Because looking for a job is actually a two-way street. So yes, you are looking for a job, but at the same time, you want to make sure that that job offer that you land is something that aligns with your own design principles. So what do I mean? There was an interview that I had, and while I was having the interview, the hiring manager was like, after doing my task, was like, oh, you did really well, you did the designs and all of that. But however, unfortunately, will not be moving forward with this application. And the reason for that was they needed someone that would just come and do like quick UI designs. And I'm like, quick UI designs without research, quick UI designs without understanding what the user's problems were, quick UI designs, that's literally templates then, And funny enough, fun fact, recently I was checking LinkedIn and I saw that they are still recruiting for that same position in 2026. That's obviously a red flag. That's a red flag right there. That's a banner. That's a red flag banner right there, because you're still recruiting in 2026. That shows that there's a problem that you need to sort of figure out, in your organization. Anyway, what I did to update my portfolio was I went back to the drawing board. I designed my portfolio from scratch, making sure to adhere to design principles that I believed in, accessibility standards, ensuring that it's usable, the easy navigation, and also showing my creativity side. I wanted my personality to shine through my portfolio. And when I did this, things changed drastically for me. I got more opportunities to interviews. Refrain from using templates because you want to do animations or motion graphics. If you are into animations and motion graphic, that's different. As a product designer, most hiring managers want to see your design process, and they want to see your approach when it comes to tackling and solving problems, and not necessarily animations or motion designs. So that's one thing that I did. I went back to the drawing board, I changed my portfolio, and I started getting more opportunities to interview. The second strategy that I did was I stopped using one CV for different applications. I know that this is not necessarily a new one, but there's a bit of caveat to that. I also made sure to optimize my CV for the role that I'm applying for. Now, a lot of companies are using ATS systems, and these ATS systems are built in place to see if your CV is optimized for that role. So if your CV is not optimized for the role, you get that instant rejection. So in order for your CV to pass through ATS, you need to make sure that your CV passes ATS compatibility. There are a lot of tools out there that you can use for this. Using ATS optimization tools to check if your CV matches the role is a great way to start this, because sometimes you are qualified but your CV is not communicating that effectively. Another thing, I made sure to change the English language from American to British. I don't know if this is a factor. So places where you have optimization spelled with a Z, I changed it to optimization spelled with S. I don't know if this is a factor, but it's just something that I did because I just felt, imagine an hiring manager who is from the UK going through your CV and seeing Z, 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 Z. That could be a factor. I don't know. This is me being too detailed now, boy. But yeah, I mean, just making sure. Third thing that I did was tracking my application. Oh my God. This helped me a whole lot. I remember one time when I got a call randomly and the HR wanted to speak to me about a job that I applied for. Guess what? I couldn't remember. And the HR was asking me specific question about the role, about the job, and I was just trying my best to respond, but man, I forgot. After that phone call, I was like, bruh, there's no need. I'm not going to hear back from these people. It's not possible. It's not possible for me to hear back from them. Tracking your application is so important. And how do you track your application? So I used an Express sheet where I would have the name of the company, the role, the link to the job description, the salary range, dates that I applied, also dates that I did an interview, the different interviews, any follow-ups or outcome, etc. But the tracker wasn't just an organization, it became a learning tool. I was able to learn a lot of things through tracking application, and it really helped me a lot to make sense of everything that I was doing. For instance, there was a company that I applied for that they later reached out to me after I think a month plus. And the reason why I was able to remember was because I had the tracker. So I was able to go back to my tracker, look at the company, look at the JD again, refresh my memory about everything. With that information, I was able to proceed to the next stage. Imagine if I didn't have a tracker. How would I remember a job that I applied for 2 months ago? As how? It's not possible. So yeah, good to track your application. But the tracker wasn't just about organization, it was a learning tool as well. With the tracker, I could identify patterns. I could see roles where I was moving forward more. I could see roles where I wasn't really moving forward. So it made me understand where to put my energy and how to structure my interviews. Tracking your application is a game changer. The fourth one is I completely changed my approach to answering questions. So whenever you're answering questions, always use the STAR method. Talk about the situation, talk about the task, talk about the action that you took, and also talk about the results. This way, in your head, it helps you answer questions and gives you that confidence. You don't necessarily have to cram, you don't have to be tense. Just ensure that you're answering the question in a STAR method, and this would really help your interviews. So when they ask questions like, tell me a time when you dealt with a difficult stakeholder, automatically I'm not thinking about, oh, what should I say? I'll just look at it from a STAR perspective. What was that situation like? What was the task that I was supposed to do? What action did I take? And what was the result of the action that I took? That way, it made it easier for me to answer questions. Also, when answering questions, make sure to use we. Unless it's an individual contributor question, you can specify I. But if it's not, use we. The fifth and the most important strategy is I stopped trying to sound like someone else. I know that sometimes when we are having interviews, we can always tend to want to be very formal, very strict, very rigid in our approach, but this doesn't work. One of the things I've learned about the UK culture is they like satire, they like comedy, they like fun. When you're having an interview, try as much as possible to relax. You don't have to be too formal, too rigid. So for instance, when I'm being asked to present a portfolio, in the first section, I would do an intro about myself. And in that intro, it doesn't necessarily have to be too serious. Oh, I'm a Figma expert. I use this tool. I use that tool. Yes, if you don't use the tool, you will not be here in the first place. They know. They've seen your CV. What you should focus more on is your personality as a designer. What are your inspirations? What drives you? What's your story? How did you become a product designer? Those are interesting things to talk about. Also, you can talk about your hobbies as well. I remember one interview that I did. I mentioned Game of Thrones being my favorite series of all time. And bonded with the interviewer on that. At some point, we just started talking about Game of Thrones. And I was even arguing the interviewer at some point. But guess what? I moved to the next stage. So yeah, like who would have thought? Sometimes it can be the most random things and random conversations that you have. I'm not saying that you should be unserious when having an interview. Please do not quote me wrong. But I'm just saying, let your personality shine. Whatever interests you, if it's paddle, if it's painting, something that would make them understand you as a person and see how you fit into their culture. Getting a job is not simply finding a job, applying and waiting. There are a lot of things that are involved in trying to get a job. There are sometimes you have to follow up. There are sometimes you have to reach out. Sometimes you have to network. That sometimes you have to be referred. You need to be strategic about applying for jobs. There are different tools that can help you with your job application. There's a tool that I built called Career Royale that can help you with your job application. You can use it to look for jobs. You can use it to track your jobs. You can use it to optimize your CV. You can use it to get feedback on your applications or your CV and so much more. And the reason why I built this tool was because I have gone through the process myself. I have seen shaggy. I've experienced what it is to look for a job and trying to use different methods, different strategies. So imagine a tool where everything exists in one place. And if you don't want to figure out everything yourself, I offer one-on-one support sessions. In these sessions, we can look at your current journey, see what's working, see what's not working, and be more strategic about that. To book a session, click on the link in the description box. Also, if you're looking for practical resources to get you started in your job search, I have created different templates for CVs, for job application tracking, for interview strategies, and also prompts that you can use to optimize your CV and prepare for your job search. So you can find the links to the templates below. So if you're currently struggling with getting a job in the UK, I want you to remember this. Getting rejected doesn't automatically mean you are not qualified. Sometimes you just need to change your approach and your strategy to job search. So applying more is not the solution, but applying smarter and being more strategic, now that's the solution. If you found this useful, please like, subscribe, and share, as I'll be sharing more useful tips. Also, I share career strategies and I create videos on AI tools. If you want me to do any video in particular, please comment below and I'll look into that. I'll see you all in my next one. Bye for now.